lovelies, and welcome back to another how-to video on Marvel Rivals characters. As of recording this video, Season 2 has been out for almost 3 weeks, and the newest addition to the roster has taken the game by storm. This cool beauty has joined the Vanguards in protecting the X-Men and others on her team, while kicking the opponents into walls like nobody's business. Today, we will explain how to play the lovely, extremely popular White Queen of Krakoa, Emma Frost. Emma Frost is a character that has two different skill sets depending on what form she's taking. She has mid-range telepathic powers, which include her shield and the ability to seize an opponent's sentience for additional damage, and she has close quarter attacks, which allow her to grab an enemy and, as mentioned before, kick them away. And while her health is not the tankiest, she does have the moves to survive in this tanky tank world. Let's discuss how to effectively use them, shall we? Emma's base attack is the telepathic pulse. This pulse has an ammo count of 70 and thus needs to be reloaded. See it as her recharging her mental self. The telepathic pulse starts off with 0 damage. Now you might be asking, why would I then play Emma Frost? Well, the thing about her base attack is that it does more damage the longer you attack. You have a charge counter in the center of your screen that counts from 0 to 100. First third of the charge, you do damage starting at 0 and ending at 70 hit points per second. Second third of the way, you do 99 to 120 damage per second, and at full charge, you do 150 damage per second. The way you charge your telepathic pulse is not limited by hitting enemies, by the way. You don't have to worry about losing your charge if you're not immediately in range of someone. You can charge your pulse by hitting heroes for 10 points per second, a captured sentience for 15 points per second, a common enemy summon such as Loki clones and Namor turrets for 5 points per second, and enemy shields for 10 points per second. However, if there isn't anything to hit or you don't attack for a while, you will lose this charge after 3 seconds of non-action at 30 points per second. Next, let's talk about Emma's secondary. Just like Strange and Cap, Emma's secondary is a shield. However, unlike Strange and Cap, Emma's shield can sit in a designated place, allowing Emma to continue attacking enemies instead of having to focus on shielding. The way you set the shield is by looking in the direction you want to place it and releasing your secondary attack button to place it. The longer you hold the button, the further the shield will go. This allows you to block off corners, stop healing from reaching enemies if the enemy healers stay in the back, or stop an enemy ult if said ult is in the sky. Emma's shield does have a max of 500 health, so if you stop an Iron Man ult, it will be destroyed. However, after it is destroyed, you can redeploy it within 4 seconds. You might want to wait a bit longer so it can regain more health, but it does mean it can help protect you in a pinch. You also have the ability to redeploy your shield while it's deployed, with a reposition cooldown of 3 seconds and a recovery delay of 2 seconds. If your shield has taken damage and you've recovered it, it will recover health at 70 points per second, so it doesn't take too much time for it to have a usable health pool. And then there's Emma's Psychic Spear. Psychic Spear is what allows you to control and damage an enemy's sentience with telepathic pulse, which also damages the enemy itself. If it shatters, you do additional damage to the owner of the sentience, which is perfect for using on tanks or healers to get rid of them faster. The max distance for the Psychic Spear is 24 meters with a projectile speed of 80 meters per second. It can only be used on one enemy at a time and takes control of 25% of the target's current health. When you hit it, you will deal 5 damage per hit so long as it stays connected, and when it shatters, you do additional damage equal to 25% of the target's max health. However, if a target manages to get further than 15 meters away from the sentience, the linkage is broken and it goes away, so it's best to use at close to semi-close range so the target can't get far enough away to break the link. Let's now move on to Emma's alternate form. As mentioned before, Emma has a secondary form that allows her to adopt an entirely different moveset. This is called her Diamond form. This form will stop enemies and occasionally friendly Jeff from CCing you with either an ability or ult and gives you a 30% damage reduction. This form lasts for 8 seconds total and allows for 2 kicks and 2 grabs if timed correctly. Be aware though that the Diamond form has a cooldown of 15 seconds, so you can't use it continually. As mentioned, in Diamond form, her attacks change from mid-range to close range. Her base attack in this form, Faceted Fury, has different damage outputs depending on the hit, with the first and second hits doing 50 damage, the third hit doing 70, and the fourth and last hit doing 80 damage. It is slightly forgiving in that you have a range of 4 meters, so you don't have to be staring at the enemy's face to hit them, but it's not far enough that if you change into Diamond 4 from a distance, you won't hit anyone. To close this distance, however, and maybe grab someone in the process, you can use Emma's dash immediately upon changing. The dash called Carbon Crush allows you to dash forward several meters, allowing you to grab an enemy upon connection, starting an animation of you turning around and slamming them into the ground. This attack can grab ulting enemies, with some exceptions, meaning that one ulting Iron Man or Scarlet Witch can now enjoy a lovely trip to the floor for trying to disrespect the queen in her domain. The actual animation of her grabbing and slamming down her enemies lasts 1.6 seconds, and the attack itself does a total of 30 damage. As mentioned before, you can use this attack twice, as it only has a cooldown of 5 seconds. This brings the total cooldown period to 6.6 seconds if an enemy has been hit by it. Last attack on Emma's Diamond roster is the Crystal Kick. Crystal Kick, like Emma's regular attack, is forgiving in its hitbox, with a 5-meter range, and knocks back any enemy hit by it. If that enemy hits a wall, you do additional damage. Of course, if there's a ledge next to them, you can also just kick them off the map. Anyways, the Crystal Kick has a base damage of 50 with a total of 100 damage if the enemy hits a wall. This attack is best combined with the Carbon Crush by first grabbing an enemy, then kicking them into the wall or into your team, or both. Both is good. With a maximum knockback of 10 meters, you don't have to worry about not hitting your enemies where you want them to go unless you are facing the wrong direction. And if you're not sure you'll be able to get rid of an enemy by just slamming and kicking an enemy, you can always get in a few punches after a grab before you kick them away. The kick itself only has a cooldown of 2 seconds, so there's plenty of time to use it when you're in diamond form. And now we get to Emma's ult, Psionic Seduction. Emma's ult stops enemies from using their ult, including enemy Emmas who ult after you, exceptions apply. So long as you're ulting, you can phase enemies to gradually commandeer their minds, meaning they will eventually start walking towards you. All while ulting, you also do damage to any enemies caught within, so you can help your duelists get rid of enemy strategists and duelists. Your ult lasts for 6 seconds and can be cancelled at any time after starting. It has a cone-shaped attack field, an 80-degree angle, and a length of 30 meters. There is damage fallout though, meaning that while at a max of 10 meters you do 80 damage per second, you do less damage after that with a max damage falloff of 50%. You also lose damage based on the angle. Within 7 degrees of the center, you do max damage, with 80% decrease attack at 20 degrees. Be aware that you only control enemies for a few seconds, less than the length of your ult, and that each enemy can only be controlled once. Finally, let's talk about Emma's team-up. Emma is the anchor of the team-up, meaning that she won't get any new abilities. However, her team-up, Mind Link, allows Magneto and Psylocke to call forth a mental projection of themselves that also attacks and moves around. Emma gains an additional 100 health, bringing her base health up from 550 to 650, making her just that little bit more durable. And that does it for the White Queen Emma Frost. I hope you guys learned a thing or two about how to use her in your games, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see all you lovely people next time. Bye!